All right. Thank you, Zoom, for letting us know that we are now live. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is episode 50 of Cage Side Convos. I'm Rick Huntsman.
And this is Quince. What's up?
We're coming to you guys right now from Tunes 92.5, which has become our recording studio at least for the time being. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a nice little level up, I'd say.
Yeah. And we are joined today via Zoom by Coach Bobby King. Bobby?
What up, gentlemen? Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So this is Coach Bobby's second time on the show with us. For those of you who missed the first episode or are unfamiliar with Bobby King, he's a coach. He's a professional MMA fighter out in Layton, Utah. Well, you guys just switched the gym over to Kaysville now, right? It's basically like one town over.
Yep.
So we're just gonna catch up. We talked probably November, right? So like 8-10 months ago. And since then there's been a lot going on in your life. Most recently your Bellator debut.
Sir.
Yes, that's pretty cool. So how did that come about?
Started with, I believe, the Fierce Fighting Challenge, my last fight with Steve Seiler. I think the commission out here in Utah was kind of putting my name in for the bigger names. But Sensei Dwayne is actually the one who got in contact with Bellator and started the process.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so he reached out and he knew the owner personally and kind of just put my name in there and was like, hey, we got a guy who want to fight and I think he'll do good and let us know when you got to fight for him. And went back and forth for a couple months and I think maybe less than that. And they gave him a call back and they gave me Nick Mule's name and of course I was like, let's go,
Yeah.
I'm always ready. So we just kind of took the fight, went to fight camp, flew back and forth from here to Colorado.
Nice.
And we just did our thing,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. So at that point, when you get the opportunity to perform on that stage, it's pretty much whoever's name they give you. That's who you're fighting, right? Yeah. You don't say, nah, well, I'm going to wait for a better fight than that. It's just whoever's name they give you. It's a yes, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yeah. He was actually supposed to fight another guy from Maui, the island I'm from, right before COVID hit.
Okay.
And, so he didn't actually get to fight him, but I grew up with the guy. And so it was kind of funny that, he was supposed to fight another Hawaiian and then they chose me.
Yeah.
Wrong Hawaiian to fight this time, man.
Sure. Yes,
That's
sir.
awesome.
Yes, sir. Now he's a pretty serious dude. I mean, obviously you're fighting at a very high level right now, so everybody's a pretty serious dude. But Nick Newell, right? Is his name?
Nick Newell, yes, sir.
Yeah. So he very well known for his grappling, right? He's a good grappler.
Yes.
And so he's got over 20 professional fights, right? Did I see that correctly on his record?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you weren't hopping in against a brand new guy. I mean, obviously you've been around a little bit, but still, I mean, that's a pretty high level to come to. Bellator, it's a big name fight, and it was in his hometown, right, in Connecticut.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I was pretty excited about it. Plus, it was kind of last minute, but they ended up letting people into the arena and stuff. So that was cool. I was like, all right, let's get it on, So that's the first time in a long time I've been away from home fighting, and so I didn't have the crowd cheering me on.
Yeah.
It was kind of different, but I thought it was awesome.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it was so luckily for us, it was only not even an 8-hour drive from where we're at out here. So we were able to come out, a couple people from the gym, man, and watch. And it's the first live fights we've been to in a long time, man. It was just fucking cool to be able to see, go out there and perform, man, and walk away with the win. So that was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. That was awesome to see. It's a great surprise for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. How big of a crowd are we talking?
I don't know, maybe I think 3,500 people or something like that.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah.
That's
and
solid.
it was what's so funny is that the arena was so big. I mean, 3,500, that's a good sized crowd.
Right.
But the arena was so big, and I think people were so nervous about COVID, it almost seemed like there weren't that many people there. But of course, we were sitting up in the nosebleeds, you know what I mean? But
right.
It definitely got loud when these guys came out, especially the hometown guy, man. That place erupted. And then,
it did.
Yeah, and then Bobby's walking out, and it's just crickets, except for us up in the stands.
But what, so I mean, what's that? I remember going to might have been your first fight, and of course that was a hometown fight. So
Yeah.
we were a part of that sort of energy. But to come out and to be on the other side of that, when you know you're almost like your back is kind of against the wall, how did you? Is there a way to prepare for that?
I don't think there's a way to prepare for it, but as far as for me, I was so focused, I didn't even really recognize or hear the crowd really, you know?
Sure.
Tunnel vision, you know? Just I'm walking to the cage. I got my coaches with me, you know, got the pep talk, just walking down the aisle, and it's just another day. We're going out there to spar, essentially, and elite sparring. Obviously, it's a lot more on the line, but we do this daily, every day, so it is what it is.
Absolutely. Very cool. Very cool.
And that's what's so awesome about having somebody that's as seasoned as Sensei Ludwig is that he's been, I mean, him personally, he's been there a bunch of times, right? But he's also coached guys and cornered guys that have been on that stage, right? So he probably knows the right things to tell you to get you ready for that, but also in training, like you said, you know, in the dojo and stuff, you're doing it every day. So he knows how to simulate that, how to talk you through it, how to mentally get you prepared, right?
Yes, sir. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome to have him there. It was a great experience.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So I was obviously the question always, because fans of the sport are barbarians, and the only thing they want to ask you is when's the next fight, right? But what's on the horizon for you right now? Anything in your sights, or you're just
waiting for my hand to heal right now.
Yeah.
Bellator actually reached out to see if I could fight in August, so this month.
Oh wow.
Yeah, with my hand still jacked. I actually have to go back into surgery. So the screw they put in is sticking out of my bone a little bit. Like,
oh shit.
So they got to pull that out and put a new one in. So that'll put me back another extra week on top of what my 8 weeks already. So once that gets going, then kind of put my name in the hat again and see what we can get out there. So.
Sure. Yeah. So let's not gloss over that lightly. So you obviously have to go into surgery of your hand. You broke your hand in your last fight, less than 2 minutes into the first round of a 15-minute fight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you went to throw that right hand, and it looked like he ducked right down into it. You smashed right off his forehead.
Yeah. I hit the top of his head. I threw the ream, so I push kick, and then I threw my right hook with it.
Yeah.
And he ducked into it, tried to throw his own right, and it just hit like right at the top of my knuckle, and it just snapped.
Oof.
And instantly I knew. I was like, oh, something's not right.
Sure.
You kind of see in the video of my coach yells, watch the takedown. I put my hands up, and I'm kind of like thinking, in my head, it felt like it was like 10 seconds. But I watched the video, it's like a split second, and he took me down.
Yeah.
And he gets me on the ground. I'm kind of just like holding my hand like this and holding him, and like trying to play with my hand. I'm like, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know until the end of the round, really. Like, I knew something was wrong. I was throwing it, and I was like, oh, something's weird. But at the end of the round, I remember, like, squeezing my hand. I could just feel the bone cracking, and I was like, oh, man, that's jacked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I walked to the corner, and I look at Sensei, and I'm like, I whisper, because I didn't want the cameras to hear, and I was like,
Sure.
I just broke my hand. He goes, you got 10 minutes, Ninja. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, like, I just was like, you know what? You're right. We got 10 minutes.
Man.
Go out there and beat this dude for 10 minutes. So, it's kind of like the game plan, really.
Deal with the rest of it later, right?
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
awesome. And he didn't even flinch, did he?
No.
What
What are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
It was cool.
No,
I was like, you know what? Just kind of put it into perspective, right? I can either quit or do what we came here to do. So I was like, right. Oh, it was cool. But to have that mentality, like, whatever, man. So it just made me that much more calm, you know? Yeah, this ain't nothing. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's, it's such a perfect metaphor for life, right? Whatever life throws at you, you either stop right there or you fucking deal with it and you keep going, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the moment's going to be over one way or another. Time's going to move forward. If you decide to quit right now, then you're just going to have nothing but regret after that, right?
Very true. Yes, sir. Yeah.
You only have one Bellator debut, right? Yeah. You can fight 1,000 times. You only have one debut, right?
Oh, that was the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What a story to carry with you, man.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and I was rewatching the video with the commentating, and I was kind of getting annoyed because the guy's like, oh, he's kicking my leg in the beginning. He's like, oh, he's switching because he hurt his leg. His leg's hurt. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, no, I wasn't. My hands were closed. But I was still throwing it and throwing bombs with it. Like it's because we went over that combo a million times in training, right? So it's like I see it, I throw it, bang, and I'm just like, man, I couldn't stop myself. Even when I was shooting, I'd try and throw just the left hand. I couldn't. Then eventually I started open hand slapping him for a couple times.
Yeah, I noticed in the third round you were throwing that Stockton slap, just that open hand right.
Yeah, exactly.
It was connecting. You were throwing it like you practiced it, man. It was there. From the outside looking in, you couldn't really tell that anything was wrong.
Good. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And you did, obviously you went the distance and you won the fight, So
yeah,
like
cool. That was a fun.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Afterwards, was that was it your brother there that made you a sling for your hand?
Oh yes,
hanging out having some drinks afterwards, and your brother made you up a sling so you quit using that hand.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. That was a great surprise too, having him there for sure.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know he was coming?
I didn't know he was coming. Yeah.
Oh, wow,
I didn't know that night before the fight.
Yeah. Oh, and he flew up from Hawaii, right? Surprising.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, with the surprise.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a hell of a way to come for a surprise.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, that's the first Bellator fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't doubt it now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What a show. So you were talking about the combo that you had practiced. And I had a question before, but I didn't want to interrupt Rick at the time. How much of your training, so you got, you want to be in the best shape, top shape, but also you want to train toward this individual, Nick Newell. How much of your time or training is spent watching that sort of film, watching what his tendencies are, and kind of building your game around that?
Honestly, not very much. We watched this fight maybe. I watched it with Sensei once. We kind of replayed a few things here and there. But that was it, really. We watched it once, and we're like, what are we going to do? We wrote it down, and, okay, this is the plan. This is a guide, I guess, essentially, not necessarily a plan, because we like to deviate and make sure we can adapt to situations.
Sure.
And so, yeah, we honestly watched it once. I was at his house. We had dinner, popped it on the computer, and we just kind of watched, talked about it, and then that was it. It was in our heads, and I just kind of trusted my coach, trusted Sensei and Coach Marshall and my jiu-jitsu coach. I'm sure Coach Marshall watched it definitely a lot more than I did.
Okay.
He'd come back to training. He's like, okay, this is what he likes to do, blah, blah, blah. This is how we're going to defend it. This is what we're going to do. And so we just kind of worked around that. Yeah.
I love that answer. I like the answer. And I guess it's not the one that I expected. I expected, we know he's going to do this when he's here or when he's, switch his foot. But I like it because it makes sense, because if he trains in a different way towards you, you know what I mean? So everything you think he's going to do, none of that happens. Then you're kind of, shit out of luck in a way. But now if you're just like, nah, I'm going to do what I do best, and he's going to have to deal with me.
Exactly.
I like that perspective a lot.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I learned that a few fights back. I think we talked about that on the last podcast as well. Yeah. I remember I was just thinking too much about what he was going to do. And it didn't work out well for me. So I was like, nah, that's out the window. None of that anymore. Make them worry about me.
Yeah. Would you say Sensei told you just mind your own business?
Exactly.
Mind your own business. Yeah.
Mind your own business, do what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you have to be ready to adapt, right? And I'm sure you guys didn't plan, okay, first round, we're going to smash our knuckles off the top of his head and break our hand. So, but yeah, like you said, it's cool because, I've gotten to train with you a couple times here and there and see you on the mats. I see a lot of footage of you training with Sensei and running the combos and stuff. And we were sitting there actually in the stands watching you. And everything you were throwing, that kind of like drive-by style, that, sprint cross into that lead hook, I'd seen you throw it so many times. I'd seen so much footage. I'd seen you do it live so many times. I'd seen you do it with Coach PJ. And you start doing that. I look at Rachel. I was like, I know that shit. I know what he's doing. I know he's going to do that. And then
that's cool.
Pretty cool seeing the mashup that you posted afterwards, running your front kicks and then running that combo in the dojo and then back to back with the fight. So everything you practice, you were able to manifest in the cage.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too. I went back and watched it. I was like, oh, look at this, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't really plan for it, but when you do it so many times in training, it's like it's just natural, instinct, right? It just happens to me. And I thought that was cool. So
yeah, that was awesome, man. It's one of the highest expressions of art to be able to practice something like that, but apply it in a as close to battle as we're gonna get, right? But in a real life high pressure situation, man.
Yeah,
Poetry.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah, it's cool when you can do that for sure. Train, do all these fancy things or whatever, but if you can't pull it off in a real fight, then, it's not really cool at that point.
Absolutely. Then it's just dance at that point. If you can't do it in a fight, it's just dancing.
Yeah. Choreography, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure that takes getting used to. We talk a lot about trusting the process, and now taking everything with you that you've learned or been working on. But I don't know what number fight this was for you, but in the first few fights, did you think that you had it down? Did you feel like you were confident and knew what you were doing?
I was definitely confident. I got into a lot of fights growing up, but I didn't know what I was doing. No, I went out there and fought. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't trying to set things up. I've definitely matured a lot in the fight world and as a martial artist, and so there's almost a sixth sense versus like actually feeling and seeing it. Right, like you feel it more than you see it. And you kind of just know and gauge that way versus like thinking about what I'm going to do next or what if he does this type of thing.
Yeah. Right. For sure. Yeah. Just reacting and moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely makes sense when you said you couldn't stop throwing that right hand because you couldn't think about your hand being hurt. Your body was just in motion. You saw your opportunities. You didn't say, well, my hand's broke. Your body just wanted to throw it. So
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Again, we practiced that millions of times. Like,
yeah.
Nonstop, right? And just because we knew, right, his left arm's a little shorter, so we're like, we'll capitalize on that.
Yeah.
And we always targeted that side and worked out for the most part.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. So a couple of things I noticed happened. There was a couple times you did get in a little bit of trouble grappling. It looked like he got in pretty deep on a couple of guillotines, maybe 2 or 3 times. So in a situation like that, I think a lot of people have the tendency to panic. You did not, right? So what, so have you drilled those specific defenses? Did you know you're like the guillotine, you've been going over that with your coaches, or was that just a matter of you were in that flow state and you knew what to do that kept you calm?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. We definitely knew he liked headlock or guillotines just because, that's what he does. He's tapped a lot of guys out with guillotines and Darcy's, I believe. Head and arm shots.
Yeah.
And we knew for sure. And so we drilled a lot of that as well. But I think, just being in that situation a bunch of times, just kind of knowing what to do and being tapped out a million times, it's not, you learn how to kind of fight through that.
Sure.
So there's no reason to panic, I guess.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Panicking is not going to get you anywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Take 2 steps back,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, so a lot of poise. Definitely conducted yourself at just like a high level athlete. You would expect a high level athlete too, man. So it was an awesome performance for sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So what is it like on your way toward the fight as you get closer? You're ramping up to 100%, and it's all you're thinking about. It's all you're doing, and then you get to the fight. Now you're at 200%, and the fight ends and now you've got an injury to tend to. How do you slow yourself down so you can give yourself proper time to rest, relax, and heal? Is that's
a good question. You kind of just have to, like, at some point you just don't have a choice, right? Like my hand, I couldn't really do anything for about a week. I actually didn't get into surgery until about almost 2 weeks after the fight. Because we were in Florida after the fight, and we stayed there for a week and just hung out. And my hand was broken the whole time. We went and got it checked, and everything was fine, but they're like, yeah, we need to get you in surgery as soon as possible. So as soon as I got home, went and checked out the surgeon and got an appointment for my surgery. So I got in on like a Thursday or something, 2 weeks after the fight. But dude, as soon as it was in, like, I could start moving my hand. Like, it's crazy. The surgery is crazy. They only did like a little, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little incision right here.
Yeah.
They literally just drilled through my bone and just put it together. Yeah.
Wow.
I wore like a little splint thing for like 3 days just to make sure I don't get disinfected. And after that, the doctor's like, yeah, I want you to move it as much as possible. I want you to
Oh,
start
wow.
doing stuff. Yeah, it's like, obviously don't punch anything, but yeah, go move and do some exercises. I was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, let's go.
That's awesome.
And luckily, I could do stuff because we're actually moving to this new dojo right here. That was like the same week, and so. And I think that's the reason why I have to go and take this out and put it back in, because I worked on the gym, get out, and just drilling and all that, just a bunch of movement. I went to the doctor's last week, and he just said, what did he tell me? He's like, I've never seen anyone put this much stress on this type of sport. No one's ever backing that thing out. And I was like, oh, man. And I didn't want to tell him what I did. I was just kind of like, oh, really? Like,
Yeah.
So I was like, dang it. But yeah, so now I got to go back on Friday, tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Oh, wait, what is today? Wednesday? No, Friday. To get it taken out.
Yeah.
It's another issue. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So that's it's too funny. Just I think every single one of us has done that. Just play dumb with the doctor. Like, I don't know what.
For sure.
Yeah. So so your gym, Code Kingdom, you guys just moved to a new location a couple weeks ago. And we were lucky, Rachel and I, when we were out in Colorado, we were lucky enough to make the weekend trip out there when Sensei came and visited and kind of blessed the gym. And you guys had like 40 friggin' people there for a class. And it was
Cool, man. Thanks for coming out again. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. It was great, dude. It was cool too to see PJ walk in.
Yeah, that was a
got you with the surprise, man. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So just kind of, really feels, for Rachel and I, it was our first time out in Utah. Obviously, met you, we've trained a little bit. We met Em when we were in Connecticut, which it felt like we'd known her already just because we have so much interaction with you guys. But coming to your spot, it felt like Coach Lori, felt like we knew her. So, some of the other coaches, Coach Quinn, we see him all the time on Instagram, Randy, all those guys. It feels like we know them. And for us, it felt like we were just going to our family's gym. You know what I mean? And then,
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Coach PJ coming out and surprising you. I mean, obviously, you guys have gotten really close through martial arts and through training and stuff, man. And it's just that I think if you're not in, but that kind of sounding like a cult. I'm taking my time saying this because I don't want it to sound like a cult, but I don't think you can, because especially like the BMT family, we all get so close. But yeah, so that, I guess circling back instead of just wandering around, community, family and stuff, and everybody, especially with you being hurt, to move the dojo in that short of a time and get it reset back up. What did that mean to you to just have everybody show up like that, for not only for moving it and then for that, for that first class and everything?
Seriously, it meant the world, man. Like, just to bless the gym that way with that energy and all of that, everyone's helped to bring it up. And
yeah,
I definitely couldn't have done it without everyone here. And this place would probably still be closed today, but just me and a couple of our guys doing it.
Yeah.
So, man, it meant everything to me. I can't even explain it. It's just so awesome. Yeah.
It's kind of, you don't really, we talked about this a little bit. Actually, the night after your fight, we were able to have a really cool conversation. We talked a little bit about, you don't realize necessarily always the impact that you're having on people, especially, for you, you're in a coaching role, but you're also fighting. You've got a lot on your plate. Sometimes you can feel a little bit selfish, maybe, especially when you're getting ready for a fight. But to turn around and to realize that when you need people, all these people are ready to show up. Not only like they don't feel obligated, they want to, for everything that you've done for them. They feel generally inspired to help and want to give back and want to help grow, So I think it's a really profound thing, especially seeing how beautiful the gym came out and all the artwork. And I mean, it's a fucking dope ass spot, man. But to have everybody show up like that, I think it's a true testament to, what you personally are doing for everybody in your community, man. It's a really amazing thing to see.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
So am I looking at the new spot right behind you? Is that where you're sitting right now?
Yeah, that's the new dojo.
Okay. All right.
That's the dojo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So for those the viewers that are listening in right now without the visual, I highly recommend going to the Koa Kingdom Instagram page or Coach Bobby's Instagram. They have tons of pictures and videos and stuff. But there's this dope mural of Bruce Lee in one of his many poses with the wata coming out in pretty cool looking graffiti. But then there's a big tidal wave. Now M did all the artwork in the dojo, right?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Yep.
Spent days on his artwork, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had one of you guys, Randy, help design the dojo logo, right? The one that's on the other wall.
No, it's actually we had another guy design it, but Coach Randy gave us the meeting about it, and yeah, in Japanese, that's where they go to find their way, kind of thing, right? And so it was kind of crazy because we didn't really realize what it was, and he told me about it, and I thought that was cool because it's exactly what it is, right? The dojo, it's a place of way, a place where you find your way. But that's like a spiritual, that thing right there.
Yeah.
I can't really point at it. Is it right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like a spiritual
gate or something. Yeah.
And so they walk through it and they pray and they do like a full ritual through it.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really freaking cool.
Yeah.
You know, that as a logo. And
hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
Nice. So was this, and I'm just trying to catch up here, was this a changing of the location of your gym, or was this an expansion, or?
Yeah, it's a changing of location. Our lease was up at the other spot, and we found this spot over here. So we're like, you know what, let's move. You know, it's been, we were at that spot for 5 years, and we just felt like this place would work a lot better with the way it's laid out.
Yeah, sure.
We made the move.
I like the synchronicity of it all. You know, you got your first Bellator fight, come away victorious. Well, either way, the first one is the first one. And then also you've got this this moving in motion, kind of taking shape all at the same time. And I think that's something to look back on, you know, years to come. And it's definitely going to be a moment. Yeah, definitely going to be a moment.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I was a little worried at first, you know. I was like, man, I'm going to move, training for a fight. My first fight in Bellator, but I was like, you know what? It is what it is. You take one thing at a time, focus on the fight, and focus on the move. So it's working perfect.
I like that. And you're focusing on what you need to do. And then, as Rick said, you know, the rest of that community came and circled right around you and helped make everything else happen. Yeah, that is really what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So I'm going to hit you with kind of probably what could be a pretty deep answer, or maybe something that something I maybe haven't put enough thought into. So I want to hear what you have to say about it. But talk about it a lot. The dojo, the place of way, right? What does that mean?
Good question, Coach. You know, the place, like Sensei puts it, right? This place can be the gym where you work out. Place can be a social area, or this place you can be the dojo, right? Like you come in and find your place, find your way, find yourself essentially, right? Yeah. There's a lot of people that walk in here, and when they walk in, you know, with their head down, they're not very confident in themselves. They have low self-esteem. And so as a coach, for me, when I see the change happening, and then I see that flip of like, not that they're cocky or like they're whatever, but you can see that they're confident. They see they're walking with their chest out. Yeah. They're walking here like they belong here, right? And I think that for me is like the place of way, the dojo. It's where you go to pretty much transform essentially, but also just finding you, right? Your pure self, true form, you know? Yeah. And so I think that's what it is for me for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah. That's beautiful. I like it. I figured probably deep down you'd probably given it some thought, but I just wanted to manifest, because when I go back and listen to this, that's where I'm gonna get my inspiration. I help write my own shit, right? So it's, I think it's important to have people that, you know, we look to, people that are walking the same path as we are a little bit, you know, being a coach and kind of being in a position where I'm directly influencing lives and stuff. I like to, I'm very grateful to have someone like you that can come to and ask hard questions like that. you know, because obviously everybody's going to have their own opinion, their own thought. Okay, what does it mean? What does place away? What does it mean to find yourself and all that, right? And I can say, well, you know, Coach Bobby says this, Sensei Ludwig says this. This is what I think. You know, it's you know, find what works for you, right? It's
Exactly.
that Bruce Lee mindset. Take what's useful, right? Add what's your own, right?
Exactly.
So yeah. So I'm going to keep every hard question I can think of that I don't have an answer for. I'm going to ask you right here on this podcast.
Hopefully I'll have one.
Yeah, I like the thought. I was just having a conversation earlier today, you know, interviewing these guys that they just started their business, and you know, they keep changing what the space is for. But ultimately, you know, I'm like, you know, this is a place for people to come together and get together, you know, around whatever it is that they're interested, you know, what they're doing. But what they're doing, they're also bringing their journeys along with them and meeting here. And it's not just what's at hand. You know, you guys aren't just training. You guys are talking about life. You guys are dealing with the day, you know, the highs and the lows, and you guys are sharing that, whether it's verbally or, you know, physically or whatever it might be. So it ends up just being that place that, you know, people are drawn to, you know, and they want to go there day after day. And at the same time, they're also building all of these, you know, habits, you know, good positive habits to become self-motivated and aware and things like that. You know, it's just super important. He tells me all the time, you guys are a growing business here, and it all started because of what you love to do, and how that transcends. So, and you know, when I see it out here at American Top Team, you know, in the same exact way, you know, people come for different reasons, but they stay for a very similar reason, and it's that community-based feeling.
Sure,
for sure. Yeah,
gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Absolutely. And so I see, speaking of growing, I see that Koa is looking to add some coaches and add some programs and stuff, man. You guys are blowing right up in the new spot, huh?
Yeah, we're trying, man. Trying to relieve some pressure on our shoulders, right? So
sure,
that coach, and we can just kind of be in the background, helping here and there, and but also, you know, just bring new blood to the gym, you know.
Sure. Yeah, that's something you see it a lot at HQ, obviously, because Sensei Ludwig can't be there every single class, every single day. But he does a really good job of cultivating the next level of coaches. I mean, you got Sensei Valdez out there, Sensei Banks, Coach BJ, Alex is out there, Sensei Coots is running classes. Yeah, I mean, anybody, like once they get to a certain level, that's kind of the expectation, you know, whether they're fighting or whatever they're training for. If you're going to be involved in the dojo, you're not just going to take, right? Sensei's very big on being able to give back, and definitely seeing that a lot at Koa as well. You know, because obviously you're the main guy out there. It's your gym. You're the head coach and everything, but you have a lot of other coaches you can lean on, but you can't be as hands-on. But you invest in them with the expectation that they're also going to invest in the newer people and the people around them, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I almost feel like it's an unwritten rule, right? Like, just part of the process, part of the journey of the martial artist is you give back, right? Like, you learn all this, you take it in, but it's your responsibility to help bring the other people up without having to be asked, right? It's just like, oh, that guy needs help. You know, just go help him out for a second.
Right.
Especially in here, it's like, for me, I got a ton of people and I got one coach. I'm coaching by myself with 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my coaches will step in, hey, let me help you with this. And so it's pretty awesome. Yeah. They all kind of understand that, and I hope the next generation can pick that up and be like,
absolutely.
Yeah, they did it for me. Let me do it for someone else. So.
Yeah. And I think it's definitely a lead by example thing, right? Because people hear the words you say and they don't mean anything. People are going to watch your actions, and that's what they're going to follow, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, we obviously, you know, we go out to HQ to fill our cups, right? But when we bring that back, it's our responsibility to use that energy to lead from the front, you know, and show what a strong example looks like, and make sure that the people that see what we're doing understand that, okay, yes, it's important to be here and to grow ourselves. But once you've gotten to a certain point, if you know enough to help somebody to that next step, it's a responsibility. Right?
I agree. Yes, sir.
I think that's something that you see a lot. Obviously, you know, a lot of the BMT coaches are very active on Instagram. You see that with Coach Andy, right? And he's always got his students in the videos. Coach Matt down there in Texas, he's rarely ever on the actual videos that he's posting. He's always posting his students, and he does a really awesome job of highlighting the next level of coaches and showing how his, it's growing. Obviously it's from, the knowledge is passed from the top down, but everybody is growing. And as you grow, you teach the next level, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. Very, very cool thing.
Yeah, it is awesome. Do you, within the gym, do you have other fighters that are reaching that level up at the professional level, or are you kind of leading by example in that realm as well?
Right now, I'm leading by example. There was another guy that's here as a professional fighter, but he hasn't fought in a while. He just had a baby. I think he's looking to take another fight. I just had an amateur fighter fight this weekend. Unfortunately, he lost, but he did awesome. Yeah. He fought almost 3 years ago, broke his leg, and hasn't come back till recently. And he just took a fight on the weekend. Mm-hmm. Fought a tough dude from Israel, and he went all 3 rounds. Striking was on point, but yeah, he couldn't do much on the ground. Couldn't get up as much, and unfortunate, But yeah, so with that, since there's not a big, fight team in the gym right now, but we definitely are growing. A couple of the coaches they've never fought before, like Coach Quinn and Coach Randy.
Right.
They're wanting to take a fight, and it's part of the curriculum in Bang Muay Thai to take a fight and win to earn your black belt, and so that's kind of, I think, the motivation behind that for them. Mm-hmm. But it's a great energy to have it. They're martial artists first before fighters. And a lot of people come in here as fighters and then turn into martial artists. So I like the vibe better that way. I feel like, as a martial artist than a fighter.
Yeah. I think there's a lot more longevity out of it when people are martial artists first and then they're a fighter.
I agree.
Because, man, so many times, I'm sure you've seen this a lot. Guys will come in and their first day there, they say, I want to fight. When can I fight? And tell them, well, it's going to take some time to make, if you want, you can go fight right now. I don't give a shit. You can go sign up for a fight. You can fight right now if you want. But if you want to be ready, it's going to take time, And every single time it's the same. Coach, I'm going to be here every single class. I'm going to be here every single day. And I tell them, take your time, man. Don't burn yourself out. You're new. It's going to take a little while. Nope, I'm going to be here every day. They're there every single class, every single day for 2 weeks, and you never see them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you definitely learn what it's about as a martial artist first, and then you get to see guys like yourself, and the higher level students that are fighting. You see what goes into the preparation and stuff. And I mean, fighting's fucking hard, man. It's not, and it's not just a 6-week fight camp, man. You can't come in for 6 weeks and be ready to fight.
Oh, yeah, it's a lifetime for sure. It's a life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually talking to Sensei after the fight, and we came to the conclusion like the fighting's actually easy. Like fighting's the easy part. The training and preparation and the mental preparation to all that. That's like the hardest part about the fight. But the fighting part's actually easy, man. That's fun.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. I mean, yeah, exactly. Amateur fights are 9 minutes long. I mean, professional fights are 15 minutes long, and it's hard. I'm not going to say it's 15 minutes of easy work, but it's fucking fun, man. You're in there, you're just throwing down, you're just leaving everything out there, right? But when it's done, it's done. When you're in, especially when you're in fight camp, I mean, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you think about is that other guy wants to kill you. And then the last thing you think about as you're trying to fall asleep at night is, did I do enough work today to make sure that guy doesn't kill me? And that's all you think about for 6 weeks straight, or 8 weeks, or however long your fight camp is.
Yeah.
And it's terrible.
It's
terrible. Do you so obviously I'm sure you had some amateur fights. Was that your 12th or 13th professional fight?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I think I'm 13. Yeah, 13 fights in. Yes.
So, do you find, so obviously the way I explained it is, I have a little bit less experience, and by that I mean I've never fought professionally yet. So, but have you found that the nerves kind of die down in fight camp? Do you feel that you're excited, or do you still have those moments especially at the end of the day when everything's quiet and you're going to bed, you still have those moments where you're playing through losing the fight in your head?
Yeah, I don't think I play that. I lose the fight ever in my head. What I replay in my head is the times I got hurt or I lost the fight.
Yeah.
You know, not that it actually happened.
Right.
When I'm in training, I remember those times where I'm like, man, I don't want to feel this ever again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
after a fight or after like I got kicked in the liver or something like that, it's like I remember that in training when I'm wanting to quit.
Yeah.
Saying that to myself, making a promise that I never want to feel this again.
Yeah.
And that's where I get the extra push in training.
Nice.
You know? Again, dude. So I never replay losing to the guy I'm going to fight ever.
Right.
You know, because I visualize the win, I visualize the belt.
Yeah.
And so I don't never want to put that in my head that I'm going to lose to this guy because I won't.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. I know before my first fight, I never had a doubt that I was going to lose. Right. I knew like I was like, okay, well, what if he does this? And obviously I was scared, you know, and I like straight up, I was scared. You know, this other guy wants to fight me. He wants to beat me. He's supposed to be a really good grappler. I'd only been training for like a year and a half. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I like ran my own fight camp. You know, I was an amateur fighter. I had no business being in the fucking cage, right? But it was one of those things where, you know, I talked to myself and I was like, all right, whatever happens, there's no way I'm losing this fight. Like whatever goes down, there's no way I'm losing that fight. And I mean, you know, at night it was always, did I do enough today? Did I do enough today? I need to train harder tomorrow. And every single day it was, I got to train harder than I did yesterday. And like you said, using that for fuel. And I definitely know the fights that I've lost, there's been a lot more doubt in my self-talk. You know, my camp wasn't good. I knew I wasn't trying hard. I knew I wasn't working hard enough, but I, you know, kind of coasted through fight camp a little bit and then I lost, right?
Yep. I've definitely had those moments where the doubt set in because I knew I didn't work hard enough for the camp. Yeah. And I firmly believe that, yeah, that's where the doubt comes in, is in fight camp. If you're not training in fight camp,
yeah,
you know, at the end of the day, okay, I didn't give everything I had today. And that's where the doubt starts to build, right?
Yeah.
Might have been last week, but that's another day, right? And it's just building and building. Yeah. So I definitely remember those days too. So I never want to do that again. And at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, I put in enough. I gave everything I had today, you know. For my last fight camp, I remember I was watching something. I can't remember what it was, but it said something about seeking approval, and not necessarily seeking approval to be like praised and whatnot, but kind of what it is, right? Like, so in the practice, you're not necessarily looking for the approval, but your sensei comes out and says, "Hey, good job today." Like, you know, you put in everything.
Yeah.
He knows he's seen you put in the work, and he knows when you're slacking, right? So your coaches come in and tell you, "Good job." Like, take that to heart, you know.
Yes.
Like for me anyway, I won't tell my students like good job if I know they're slacking, especially if they got a fight come in.
Yeah.
You know, if they're just patty caking over here, I'm not gonna be like, hey, good job. Like, no. I'm getting a medal from me today. You know.
Yeah. Right. Not doing them any favors. Sure. That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been there.
So, quick question, and I guess I associate it with like live shows. You know, there's especially at the start, I had that same fear. You know, still had that fear to a certain degree. But as you get more accustomed to the shows or to the fights and to the action and to the moment, the fear kind of goes away. You know what I mean? You have more confidence and you're better, you know, more comfortable in your own skin. But do you still think holding on to a little bit of that fear is healthy?
Yeah, I think fear, you know, you can use fear for motivation for sure.
Yeah.
If you're not scared, you're in the wrong business, I guess, right? But
sure.
You know, you're not shooting high enough for your goals if you're not scared. But yeah, you know, I definitely fear, I guess, a little bit. But you know, having sensei behind me, and usually it's in the back when you start kind of feeling the nerves and whatnot. But having them just been in the situation and joking around like the whole time we're in the back. I don't know. I just posted a picture actually with me and him. He was wrapping my hands, and we were laughing. And like that was the whole back. Like we were wrapping my hands the whole time we were back there. We were just laughing, talking stories, hanging out like just another day, you know. And so having someone in the back like that, like knowing how to cut the tension, is key in a big fight or something like that. You know, especially for debut, it was huge for me because I was relaxed the whole time. I wasn't nervous. we made the walk to the cage, felt a little bit of fear, but again, coach is there talking to you, just reassuring him, you belong here, it's what you do.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So
That's awesome.
it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, love to hear it. Cause there were times where I remember knowing that it was the fear that helped propel me and wondering if I lost it, all the fear, if I would even be any good anymore, if I'd be able to perform at the highest level that I could.
Right.
What is your, I don't want to say, where do you find the motivation? Because obviously, it comes from just being and doing the work, especially after putting all the years in. But what about the extra boost? You say you get it from Coach Sensei or Coach
Sensei
Ludwig.
Ludwig.
Yeah. Coach Sensei.
Coach Sensei. Sure.
But what about within yourself? How are you when you're like, okay, this is my first Bellator fight? How do I make sure I'm where I need to be mentally, physically, spiritually?
Good question. Yeah, I think just a preparation, training. I tell everyone every day. People always ask me, how can you fight? You're too scared. It's like anything you do, right? In the beginning, you suck at it. You don't know what to do. Could be fixing cars. Like, you don't know what you're doing with the car. You don't know what the car part is or whatever. But after you do it for so many times, it's just in you, right? It's something that's in you. You can't just turn off and on. It's just like second nature, essentially. So,
right.
I just remember all my life, everything that I've done, I've always been a performer as well. I used to perform on Cirque du Soleil and Disney and stuff like that. So I always give my all, even on the luau's. This is the first time someone's probably ever seen me fire knife or fight. And so I want to give them a show, essentially. But also I want to do it for myself and my family, and my legacy, right? I'm also representing my name, my family's name. So if I go out there and put on a bad show, I'm not the one that's going to get bashed on, right? Like, I am, but also everyone else behind me, my family, the Bang Muay Thai family, the King name, everything. So that for me is huge. My dad definitely instilled that in me when I was growing up. It's like, anytime I got in trouble, it's like, you're not getting in trouble. Like, the whole family line is getting in trouble. So don't mess up, And so that, stuck with me, I think, growing up, and everything I did, I tried to put everything I had into it. I tried to be the best wherever I went.
And that's cool to hear, while at the same time we're looking right behind you and looking at a piece of your legacy. To have that mindset before you had a legacy, is obviously what helps to build that very thing.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
I think that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it I think it helps to prevent from becoming complacent, right? At a certain point, especially when you're confident, and if you've got the best coaches in the world in your corner, and you train hard every day and stuff. It's not necessarily the fear of the fight itself. You're not afraid of getting punched in the face. You're not afraid of getting taken down. You're not afraid of getting submitted necessarily, because these are all physical things you felt before, and it's whatever, you'll heal. You're not afraid of breaking your hand, because you'll get a fucking screw in it. You'll break the screw, you'll go back in surgery. So it's less the physical stuff, but I think the fear starts becoming not even so much of losing the fight, but it's self-propelled, right? Like, am I actually getting better? Am I pushing myself to get better? Or am I complacent? Am I okay with standing still? And I think once you become complacent and you start backsliding, that's where the actual losses start coming from, right? And those are the things that you can't let go of later in life, is because you didn't try hard enough.
Yeah, I totally agree with that for sure. Yeah.
Starts that fire inside to just, you got to keep going,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that becomes the fear of not doing enough, not just doing your part, or thinking it's going to be done for you, or, and it's a dangerous place to be in, especially when this is competing at the highest level, to put yourself in that position. And if you're doing yourself that sort of injustice, worse things than a broken hand, can come from it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Absolutely.
Very true.
How do you prevent the fear of complacency from becoming, I guess, narcissism, right? Because at a certain point, nothing that you do is going to be enough, right? So there's got to be a balance. Like, yes, you don't want to be complacent, but you also have to manage and have realistic expectations. How do you balance that?
That's a good question.
Told you, all heat coming from this side of the mics.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, not knowing all the answers, I guess, right? Like, you have to look toward to people that's been there and
Sure.
ask questions, right? Like Sensei knows, so he's been at the highest level. He is, you know, and that's one thing that's cool is that you can reach out to him and ask him anything. You know, you can shoot him a text, hey, Sensei, I got this problem, or I'm thinking about doing this. What are your thoughts? And he'll give you his honest answer. You know,
Sure.
So I think having the right people behind you helps for sure.
Yeah.
Keep you grounded a little bit, you know.
Okay.
And definitely keeps me grounded, you know. So
Yeah.
I start to blow my head up a little bit and be like, bring it down a little bit, you know.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense, man. Something I've thought about a lot since we saw each other after your fight is we talked a little bit about kind of vulnerability and stuff, and that willingness to admit that you don't know all the answers, right? Obviously, you're not going to get in front of the class of all your students and say, guys, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
You need those people in your life that will ground you, right? And I think that's probably help rein it in if you start becoming like overly obsessed with self-betterment, or say, your hand's broken, but you were so fixated on, I can't sit still, I can't let my hand rest because I'm not getting better right now. Having those people, like you said, M keeps you in check. Sensei Ludwig's always there to help ground you and everything. I think that's a really powerful thing to have, right? So we always need somebody ahead of us, somebody that's seen the walk, or somebody that we trust enough to be vulnerable around and say, when they talk to us, say, okay, don't argue with them. Say, okay, I understand, what you're saying, and it's probably in my best interest. I need to slow the fuck down a little bit and, appreciate actually what's going on in life instead of what I've built up in my head, right? So not only living in the space between our ears.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
I wonder if having your own gym and having people that go there of all different ages and different levels, skill-wise, does that help keep you kind of focused and grounded as just a reminder of maybe where you had started,
Yes.
at a lower level like that before moving up to the position you are now?
Yeah, for sure. I have this daily talk with people, right? The other day, there was a new kid in here. There were maybe like 4 people. It was actually this morning. We had a 6 a.m. class, had 4 people in here. And we had three of my coaches, and then another guy comes once a week, just does a punch pass, kind of lives far away. And he's like, I was going to walk out today. And just because I didn't want to be the oddball and I didn't want to slow people down. And I was like, man, don't worry. We've all been there. Right? This is all we start. They're coaches as well. And so they want to help you grow and be better, right? You just have to show up. So yeah, like that definitely helps remind you where you came from. We all started somewhere, right? Regardless of what we do, for a rapper or fighter or whatever it is, we all started not knowing anything about our situation, and we're here now, and so we got to get back. So yeah, that definitely kind of reminds me every day of like, hey, I was there too,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
And and I think something like that, because I've been in both positions, and certainly when someone who has every right to not necessarily be a narcissist, but be full of themselves and, kind of walk around like they're above, but when they reach out and extend that and say, hey, I understand, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, I've experienced this just like you. I think that's, it can be life-changing for individuals.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
One more thing to add to that. It's like, so every time I go to HQ, the first day on the mat, I always wear a white shirt, just to remind myself where I came from and to empty my cup and be like, I'm going to absorb everything I can this week and start off here and try to get to here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that mentality. I mean, it's big. It's a cliche in the martial arts world, right? But it holds a lot of truth. Is the white belt mindset, right? You can learn from everybody, right? As long as you're willing to. And I think one of the most powerful things is when you have somebody who's brand new and you tell them like, yes, I was here. Right. And then if you stay and if you listen to what I'm telling you and you listen to what the other coaches are telling you, your training partners are telling you, like one day you'll be able to do for somebody else what I'm doing for you. And people really latch onto that, and I tell people like, look, I'm going to get a workout from training with you. Doesn't matter how slow we have to go. I'm going to be able to get better. I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to practice my art and I will get better from training you. I promise. And when you are able to talk to somebody and get them to kind of calm down and relax a little bit and start training, like they get so wrapped up in what they're doing, all of a sudden the session's over and I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, that was great. And like, I get it now,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy shit. It's powerful stuff, man. Powerful stuff happens on the mats. It's awesome. I need to get a more quiet chair. That's terrible. Yeah, I always get so pumped up talking to you, Coach.
Same. Yeah.
Cool, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's dope. So I don't want to say what's next. Like there's a rush to do something, But what's next for you? Where's your head at right now as far as the next month or so moving forward?
Just getting back to training. I honestly haven't trained in almost a month now. I sparred a couple times this last week with one hand, and it was fun, but I'm definitely out of shape, out of conditioning. So that's my next step. After Friday, I'll just get back in here and get my training back in, just slowly, and just work on my left hand, make that more crisp than it is, and work on everything else, work around the hand until we can get better and get back in the cage.
Nice. Awesome.
I think that's one thing. If you talk to people who have been martial artists for any amount of time, but especially like 10, 15 years, right? Anybody who sticks around for that long at some point has had to train around an injury. So I don't know if you remember the first time you were injured or like sidelined seriously or whatever, but can you speak to a time where being injured has really challenged your ego and almost pushed you to that point of wanting to quit because you couldn't train?
Yeah, not that I can think of. I've actually been fortunate throughout my martial arts career to not be injured. Gotten injured in fights where I've kind of had my feet swollen. Yeah. But after a fight anyway, you're always like taking a week off.
Right.
So I don't think I've ever felt like I want to quit any sport, especially martial arts.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I can't speak to that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. But I think well, I mean, obviously you were a fighter before you were a martial artist, a kind of street fighter, a little bit of a ruffian in your own right? And then you became a martial artist, and then you kind of became a fighter. So I think by that time, obviously, if you're a street fighter and you're scrapping all the time and shit, doesn't matter. If you're hurt, you're gonna go out and you're gonna be tough and you're gonna fight with whoever the fuck you're fighting with and everything. But then kind of rediscovering yourself through martial arts. Now, I mean, right now with your hand being messed up, I mean, honestly, the couple of interactions we've had since that happened, I haven't really seen it alter your demeanor much. You're just kind of like, hey, if I can't box right now, so but I'll get back to it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the mentality for me. I tried to. Luckily, we had this gym where I move it, so I couldn't train anyway. So we had 2 weeks open anyway, and now we're just kind of trying to figure out how to, I guess, the flow of the gym, how to run it, make sure everything's running. What else I need to put in here as far as like, if I need to put shelves up for coaches, stuff like that. That's kind of keeping my mind busy at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking about the training aspect, just because I can't anyway, but that helps to keep me busy doing other things instead of thinking about training.
Yeah. I think that's a great metaphor for life, right? It's just focusing on what you can do instead of what you're not able to do, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So I think so the reason I phrase the question like it is because I see it a lot in some of the younger guys that I train with is guys will get hurt, and then I'll I'll talk to him and I'll tell him, like, listen, these are the things that I did when I was hurt, when I couldn't be on the mats. Like I would come in and I would take notes. I would just sit on the side of the mat, I'd take notes and I'd ask questions. And the one thing guys don't like to hear is slow the fuck down when you're training. Just come in and flow roll, just come in and move, just come in and shadow box, right? And then guys will let their ego get in the way and say, well, if I can't train 100%, there's no reason. They won't listen to people and they'll quit. Yeah. Right? Because I think they're so focused on what they can't do instead of what they can do. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you talk to a lifelong martial artist such as yourself, and then without even thinking of it, like that's just the mindset that comes out of your mouth. Is like, these are the things I can do. This is how I'm being productive, still positively impacting people. Right? And then when you can get back to training, you get back to training.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leading from the front yet again.
Thanks, Coach.
Always. Yeah. Awesome, man. I don't know. I'm just excited again, like a little kid. Always enjoy the combos. Got anything?
I think no. I mean, we just hit the hour mark now, and we got Bobby King on episode number 50.
Episode number 50.
So I think that's in everything that you have going on. I just feel grateful to be able to share that with the people that listen in to what we do. So I think that's cool, and I appreciate the connection you guys have. And,
yeah.
And then to be a part of that as well. You guys were talking a little bit about that community. You go and, through him you meet more, because people, we have so as I get better at what I do, right? And the circle kind of gets smaller at first, and then I meet a couple people who I really have, is revere the word? But
I don't know what you're trying to say, so I don't know if it's the word.
Think highly of. Think highly of and respect, because their work ethic is such, their mindset is such, and it's like-minded stuff. But now, once you build that connection, there are people they're connected with because they think highly of them. So then when you get to meet that, it just grows rapidly again. Yeah. So it seems like the circle gets smaller at first, but then it just goes and expands out. So it's cool to hear all of this stuff and all your success. And yeah, like I said, episode 50, man, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Yeah, awesome. Coach Bobby, thank you so much for taking your time, man. And obviously you're super busy. You got some classes coming up here shortly, I believe, right? Probably another packed house out there at Koa Kingdom.
Yeah, let's get it.
Awesome, man. So for our listeners, if you haven't yet, please pop over to Koa Kingdom's Instagram page. They're always super, super active. Amazing community of people over there. They're always posting videos, inspirational stuff. They do amazing community things, especially if you happen to be a listener out in the Kaysville or Layton, Utah area. Please pop out there and check them out. Coach Bobby King, always a pleasure, sir.
Awesome.
Same.
Later, man.
Sir, we'll talk to you soon.